Mornings can be the hardest time of day when you're living with arthritis. You open your eyes, try to swing your legs over the side of the bed, and it feels as if your joints have been replaced with rusty hinges. Every step, every movement seems heavier than it should be. And what if I told you that some of the things you do in those first few minutes, things you don't even think about, might actually be making your arthritis worse? That the quiet little habits you repeat every morning could be fueling your stiffness and pain throughout the day? I'm Dr. Brian, and welcome to Channel Wellness Blueprint Over 50. Today, I want to take you on a journey through three surprising morning mistakes that many people make without realizing it. Mistakes that can quietly rob you of energy, mobility, and joy, and what you can do instead. When you've lived with arthritis for a while, you start to notice a pattern. The mornings always feel like the steepest hill to climb. The joints are stiff, almost frozen, and the thought of moving can feel cruel. It's natural to want to stay under the covers, waiting for the ache to fade on its own. But here's the surprising truth. Staying still often makes the pain worse, not better. Let me paint a picture. Imagine an old garden gate, the kind with iron hinges that's been sitting in the rain all winter. Try opening it after weeks of no use, and what do you hear? A loud creak, a resistance that makes the whole gate shudder. But if you gently open and close it a few times, the rust loosens, the hinges regain some freedom, and soon the gate moves more smoothly. Your joints are exactly like those hinges. Hours of stillness during sleep let the internal oil of your joints, called synovial fluid, slow down. Without movement, it pools and thickens. That's why you wake up stiff. But the magic is that gentle stretching and movement first thing in the morning gets that fluid flowing again, easing the resistance, reducing pain, and setting your body free. I'll never forget a patient named Margaret, a retired teacher in her early 70s. She came to me convinced that her mornings were destined to be miserable. "Doctor," she said, "I just can't get going until nearly noon. The pain is unbearable." She was reluctant to try morning stretches, saying, "How can I move when it hurts just to breathe?" But with some encouragement, we started with the smallest of steps. Before even getting out of bed, she began circling her ankles, flexing her toes, and lifting her arms overhead for a few seconds. Within 2 weeks, she noticed something astonishing. The mornings no longer felt like a punishment. By the end of a month, she told me, "I can actually look forward to getting up again." This isn't just anecdotal. Research backs it up. A study published in Arthritis Care and Research showed that gentle range of motion exercises performed consistently reduced morning stiffness significantly in adults over 50 with osteoarthritis. Movement, even minimal movement, stimulates circulation, bathes the cartilage in fresh nutrients, and sends signals to the brain that the body is awake and ready. Now, don't think of this as exercise in the punishing sense of the word. This is not about breaking a sweat or forcing sore joints into deep lunges. This is about coaxing your body awake like you might soothe a child out of sleep, tenderly and patiently. You might begin while still lying in bed. Roll your ankles in lazy circles, stretch your arms like you're greeting the sky, or gently bend and straighten your knees one at a time. Once you're up, standing tall by the edge of your bed, try slowly reaching side to side, letting your spine loosen like a reed swaying in the breeze. The key is consistency, not intensity. 5 minutes every morning will do far more good than an occasional 30-minute session. Think of it as brushing your teeth. Small daily care that protects you from bigger problems down the road. And the benefits extend beyond the physical. Moving releases endorphins, those natural feel-good chemicals that not only ease pain, but also lift your mood. It's like telling both your joints and your spirit, "We're ready for the day ahead." Margaret eventually made stretching her morning ritual, pairing it with soft music. She described it as a kindness I give myself before the world rushes in. And that's exactly how I want you to see it. Not a chore, not another burden, but a simple act of self-care that can transform your mornings. There's one final crucial point. Always listen to your body. Discomfort is expected. Those stiff joints are waking up. But sharp stabbing pain is your body's red flag. Stop, breathe, and adjust. No one stretch is worth injury. If you're unsure where to start, a physical therapist can design a gentle, safe routine tailored to your needs. So the first mistake, skipping morning stretching or movement, may feel easier in the moment, but over time it changes your body into stiffness, making your world smaller. The alternative, a few minutes of gentle, consistent motion, can open doors to relief, mobility, and even joy. The garden gate doesn't unlock itself. You have to push it open, slowly, gently, every single day. There's something I've noticed in many of my patients over the years. They often pride themselves on their toughness. They say things like, "I just power through," or "It's nothing, I'll manage." And while resilience is a beautiful quality, ignoring the body's warning signals can be like ignoring the smoke detector when it's beeping in the night. You can pretend it's not there, but the danger doesn't go away, it only grows. Arthritis pain in the morning isn't just random discomfort, it's your body sending a message. That stiffness, that throbbing in your joints, it's not weakness, it's communication. Think of it like a dashboard light on your car. If the oil light blinks red, you don't cover it up with tape and keep driving. You pull over, you check, you take action before the engine fails. In the same way, arthritis pain is your joint's way of saying, "Please pay attention, something inside needs care." I remember a gentleman named Harold, a former mail carrier in his late 60s. He'd spent decades walking long routes in every kind of weather, and in retirement, he was determined not to slow down. "Doctor, I just ignore the pain," he told me proudly. "If I think about it, it'll win." For a while he managed, but then one morning he came in with a knee so swollen he could barely bend it. The pain he had been brushing aside had snowballed into a flare that left him nearly immobilized. We worked together to calm the inflammation and, more importantly, to change his mindset. Instead of ignoring his morning stiffness, he began treating it as an early warning system. If his joints felt tight, he slowed down, used warmth, and made adjustments. Within months, the flare-ups grew less frequent, and he found himself walking again. This time, wisely, not stubbornly. Science supports this approach. A review in the Lancet Rheumatology emphasized that patient awareness of early morning stiffness is a crucial predictor of arthritis progression. Ignoring it often delays interventions that could prevent long-term damage. In simple words, when you listen early, you protect your future mobility. So what does listening actually look like? It can be as simple as scanning your body each morning before you jump out of bed. Ask yourself which joints feel stiff. Where is the ache sharpest? Instead of frustration, approach it with curiosity, almost like a detective. Once you identify the discomfort, you can respond kindly. That might mean applying a warm compress to your hands, taking a gentle shower to loosen your muscles, or practicing light range of motion stretches targeted to the stiffest areas. There's also a deep emotional layer to this. Ignoring pain often comes from fear. Fear that if you admit it, it means the disease is winning. Fear that slowing down means giving up independence. But here's the truth. Acknowledging pain is not surrender. It's strategy. It's partnering with your body instead of fighting against it. Stressing and pushing through, on the other hand, often fuels inflammation, creating a vicious cycle. Pain creates stress, stress releases chemicals that worsen inflammation, and inflammation deepens pain. Breaking this cycle begins with the smallest act of self-compassion. I hear you, body, and I will respond with care. I've seen patients who, after learning to acknowledge their pain instead of ignoring it, reported not only less joint stiffness, but also lower levels of anxiety and depression. Their days became less about battling their body and more about working with it. Now, there's an important distinction here. Some stiffness in the morning that eases with gentle movement is typical with arthritis. But if pain persists for hours or comes with swelling, redness, or sudden intensity, that's not just morning stiffness, that's a flare, and it may be time to speak with your physician. Adjusting medication, changing routines, or even exploring physical therapy could make the difference between short-term discomfort and long-term disability. Think of Harold again. Once he stopped ignoring his morning pain, he didn't lose his independence. He gained it back. He learned to read the signals, to respond, and to protect his knees for the walks he still loves today. And that's what I want for you. not to deny what your body's saying, but to lean in, to listen, and to respond with wisdom. So the second mistake, ignoring morning pain and stiffness, isn't a sign of bravery. It's a silent gamble with your future mobility. The real strength comes from compassion, listening, adjusting, and giving your body the care it's asking for. Because in the end, acknowledging your pain isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's the path to preserving the freedom you deserve. We often think about arthritis as something that lives only in the joints, as if pain were just a matter of bones grinding together. But in truth, arthritis is deeply tied to inflammation throughout the body, and what you put on your plate in the morning can either pour water on that fire or gasoline. It's one of the most overlooked mistakes I see in older adults. The first meal of the day sets the tone not only for your energy, but for the chemistry of your joints. Let me take you into the story of Evelyn, a 68-year-old grandmother who adored her sweet coffee drinks and cinnamon pastries. Every morning she'd stop at her favorite cafe for a caramel latte and a muffin. "It's my little joy," she would tell me with a smile. But then she'd describe how, by mid-morning, her hands felt swollen, her knees stiffened, and the aches seemed worse than when she first woke up. At first, she chalked it up to age, but when we looked closer, the culprit was hiding in plain sight. The sugar and processed fats she was consuming each morning were fueling her arthritis like dry leaves feeding a fire. The science is clear on this. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that diets high in refined sugar and processed fats increase markers of inflammation in the blood, such as C-reactive protein. And higher inflammation doesn't just affect your heart or metabolism. It directly worsens arthritis pain and stiffness. Think of it like this. Every sip of soda or bite of a processed pastry sends little sparks into your bloodstream. If your joints are already smoldering from arthritis, those sparks turn the fire into a blaze. Now let's flip the picture. Imagine starting your day with warm water and lemon, or a simple smoothie with blueberries, spinach, and a spoonful of flaxseed. Those foods are like a cool rain shower on dry ground. They contain antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds that calm the immune system, soothe irritation, and even protect the cartilage in your joints. Evelyn, once she swapped her morning latte for herbal tea and replaced the muffin with Greek yogurt topped with walnuts and berries, told me within weeks, "My fingers feel freer, like I've oiled the hinges." Hydration is also a hidden hero here. Overnight, your body loses water through breathing and sweating. If you wake up and immediately reach for dehydrating drinks, strong coffee loaded with sugar, or worse, soda, you're depriving your joints of the fluid cushion they desperately need. Cartilage is like a sponge. It absorbs and releases fluid to keep your joints gliding smoothly. Without enough water, that sponge dries out, and every step feels like grinding on sandpaper. But when you start your day with a tall glass of water, you replump that sponge, helping your joints move with more ease. It's not about perfection or denying yourself every comfort. Food is joy, connection, memory. But balance matters. Occasional treats are fine, yet building your daily foundation on anti-inflammatory choices is a gift to your future self. Imagine breakfast as medicine disguised as pleasure, oatmeal sprinkled with cinnamon and berries, eggs with a handful of leafy greens, or even a simple slice of whole grain toast with avocado. These choices not only keep blood sugar steady, but also reduce the silent inflammation that gnaws at your joints. I like to tell my patients, your fork can be either your best tool for arthritis pain relief or your sharpest enemy. Every morning, you're given that choice. Evelyn chose to make her breakfast an ally, and the change transformed not only her pain levels, but her confidence. She began baking anti-inflammatory muffins with her granddaughter, finding joy not in sugar highs but in shared moments of health and love. So the third mistake, consuming inflammatory foods or drinks first thing, may seem harmless, even comforting, but it quietly sabotages your joints from the inside out. The better choice is not about restriction, but about nourishment, replacing fire starters with fire soothers. And in doing so, you give your body the best possible chance to greet the day with less stiffness, more freedom, and a sense of control. So here's what I want you to carry with you. Your mornings don't have to feel like a battle. By moving gently instead of lying still, by listening to your body instead of ignoring its signals, and by nourishing yourself with anti-inflammatory choices instead of inflaming your joints, you reclaim power over arthritis. Small, steady habits each morning can open the door to freedom, mobility, and joy. You are not too old and it is not too late. I'm Dr. Brian, and this is Wellness Blueprint Over 50. Let's keep building healthier mornings and happier joints together.